having a deep conversation on exploring African tourism through changing narratives. Tourism across Africa has long been shaped by external narratives, often reduced to images of poverty, insecurity, or limited luxury experiences. You know, these stories have influenced both how Africans see themselves and how the rest of the world views the continent. As a result, local tourism economies remain underutilized. Despite Africa's wealth of natural beauty, cultural heritage, and adventure opportunities. Amolo, Africa tourism, what do you think?
So, because many a times we only get to hear a story of a place told by somebody who is not even an in-house person. When I say in-house person, I'm like an African. And then most of all these narratives is what they tell you that you believe.
Yes.
So they're just going to create pretty picture like, oh, this is a third world country. Whereas they fail to show us the opportunities, the beauty, and of course, whatever it is that this continent holds, they don't show that part of it. They just want to tell you a particular narrative to keep you as an underdeveloped continent. But I mean, that narrative needs to change, and then when we tell our own stories, it helps to shape our own definition better and our own culture better. So I like the fact that we've got people like that who are taking the bull by the horn, and then we're going to have one conversation with one of them.
And for me, I feel Africans, or our narrative, the economic part of tourism has not been explored enough. We see people now still go on vacation and they're traveling out of the country, while we have beautiful tourist centers that people can actually go to. But for one reason or the other, I don't know, just like my intro, maybe they tell you insecurity, or for one ungenuine reason or the other. People still feel that, no, I cannot go to any Nigerian tourist site, I cannot go to... And then
I think Africans, for generally, we have this power of what we have is this nomadic feeling. We want to explore places, right? And because we still have limited information of certain places in the continent, we tend to always see everything that we have as new, right? And then people need to get out of their comfort zones to get to see these places. But then again, you can also argue for mismanagement, right? Even the ones that try to make the effort, they don't put in that much essence for continuity. I remember when the Obudu Cattle Ranch happened, and then at some point it looked like it was going to go downturn, and then someone picked it up again. But the one that happened in Cross River, that one literally just died.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, these things are looking like novel ideas, novel projects that people can actually use to be proud of the culture on the continent. But I don't know. I think we don't necessarily plan for the future. We just plan for the now. And I think that's a drawback.
And we need to make money from those places. Very, very important. So joining us to delve deeply into this conversation is Odenike Oresanya, popularly known as Nike, a Nigerian travel and lifestyle creator who has explored all 36 states of Nigeria, the FCT, and 8 African countries. Armed with her mantra, faith over fear, she documents hidden gems and debunks myths such as Nigeria is unsafe or only the rich can travel. Her content reflects courage, affordability, and a deep love for showcasing God's green earth in its truest form. Nike's work reveals the power of digital storytelling in shaping Africa's identity while also creating new pathways for youth-led creative businesses. Her journey highlights how ordinary Africans can become active participants in domestic tourism, shifting perceptions and inspiring a generation of fearless explorers. Join me and welcome Nike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
How was getting to the studio?
No, it's fine. It's easy.
Yeah, your hair is beautiful even though I do not have one.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've read about your travels, about your documentations or documentaries that you've created and all that. So let's, first of all, you're very young. what pushed you into that line, into that path of saying, I want to travel with all the shouting, Nigeria is unsafe, Nigeria is this and that and that and that. What made you say, okay, this is the path, I want to go into the path of tourism?
Okay, so yeah, I started like 2019, and I think it was NYSC.
Okay.
So I started serving 2018. I was posted to Akwa Ibom. At that time, I had a job in Lagos. Lagos is all I had known, so I was a bit, scared. I didn't want to start all over. I had a job, immediately after school, so I was very skeptical. I went for camp in Rivers State, and then I tried to redeploy back to Lagos. It didn't work. I only could do Oyo State, so I was like, fine. I still wanted to go state. So it was while I was in Ibadan, and I was like, oh my God, why was I scared in the first place? I felt like I was in love with the city. First of all, I had worked in Lagos, and I know how stressful it is commuting from all the way from Yanokwaja to Yaba. I know how long I spend on the road. I have to wake up early in the morning, get back late. And in Ibadan at that time, I will just 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you're already at work. And I'm like, why am I rushing back to that? Like, why am I rushing back to Lagos? I also used to hear that Ibadan was just brown roofs, right? People just assume it's local, there's nothing there, it's just people speaking Yoruba, and there's no civilization. But what I saw was different. I saw a highly developed city that could match up with Lagos and without the stress. So I'm like, and it's cheap again. I'm like, nah. There's a lot of education that needed to happen. So people were sympathizing with me for not being able to come back to Lagos, and I was sympathizing with them because they were the ones they needed to get out. So the more I got like, oh, you're in Ibadan, you're in the village, I'm like, no. So I had to, start showing them that this place is like, we just believe that life begins and ends in the box that we are, right? And not knowing that there's so many things to see. So from there, I started, going out and seeing more. Went to Ogun State. I'm like, so every new place I saw, I was always shocked. Like, why is nobody saying that? All those things. And I started going to tourist attractions. So that was when I realized that we needed to see as much as possible.
Okay, that's beautiful. I love the experiences. So your mantra, faith over fear. How did you develop that?
Okay, so I think I was basically living it, right? Every time I travel and I post places, I just hear negative news. Oh, be safe. Oh, why did you go here? Because I don't usually, say before I go. It's after I go that people now start. And I'm like, what I saw in reality was different from what you people are projecting. Also, in the media, they only talk about negative news, right? Negative news only sells. Like, they don't, for every...
We don't do negative news. We don't do negative news.
Nigeria has just been termed as this, ticking time bomb that you can't travel, especially the north. People feel like that's like, once you get there, you're going to be kidnapped, or you're not going to make it out alive. And to me, that's the place I loved the most in Nigeria, the north. So when I realized that all this, fear that we have is just a thing of the mind. It's just, they're not really, reality. For every one negative news you hear, there are like 100 positive people that have gone, and they're not talking about it because it doesn't, it's not a big deal.
Wow.
So have you got particular misconceptions that people share, and then, when you hear them, you're like, no. Share some of those misconceptions.
Oh, yes, like, saying that road trip, you can't do road trips in Nigeria. All my travels was road trip, and I did not experience anything negative. In fact, especially in the north, they say that they are very, aggressive, and that's not true. They're like the sweetest, calmest people I've ever met, the Hausas. They're like the most hospitable people. They're the ones that treated me better than even down south, my own people over here. So things like that. Then also Borno, that's like one of my favorite states. Maiduguri, that city can match with Lagos. Like, it's beautiful, it's amazing. So things like that. Something happens in a village in Borno State, and you're like, oh, you can't go to that state anymore. So yeah, things like that.
I was going to say, out of you've gone through the entire 36 states.
Yes.
And I'm sure people that can boast of 36 states, the entire 200 million people are Nigerians, we might be up to 10. I'm just being but which of these, you mentioned Borno, right?
Yeah.
In all these places that you've been to, what stood out from each of these states that you've been in?
Okay,
what really stood out? Just pick a particular state and then tell me what stood out.
Oh, okay. So I think for me, Yobe, one thing that stood out was the hospitality. Most of the people did not understand English, but I still had a good experience. From the minute I stepped to the, like once I landed in Damaturu, I think there was a time I was trying to buy onions. I can't remember, was it mangoes? But I wanted to buy the mango. I don't know what happened, but they were just offering me things. Like, you know, when you are here and maybe I was tired or something, and somebody was like, do you need water? Somewhere from nowhere. So like those little things. And then they can't speak English, right? And we're speaking Hausa and then we're using sign languages, and I don't feel like anybody is going to do anything to me.
Oh, yes, okay, so traveling, you're in Yobe, you're in Benue, you're in Ibadan, you're in a good state. Is it that you have someone there who invites you over, or you just felt, okay, out of curiosity, let me just go?
Okay, yes.
What
great.
motivates you?
So I think the beginnings, I just went to, like, I'll go to say places I can go and come back, you know, the same day, start with day trips. Then along the line, if I had a friend in Delta State, so I'm like, oh, let me go visit my friend and then explore around.
Okay.
And because I was also documenting on my stories on Instagram, you know, my community were there, you know, they were very enthusiastic, like, oh, I'm in Abia State, you can come and stay with me. Yes.
Wow.
So most of the states I stayed with hosts. So either from friends of friends and new people, or from my Instagram community, or people I knew directly, or tour guides that I meet. So I think I only stayed in the hotel like 2 times in the entire trip.
When you go to those places, do you have a tour guide?
Sometimes
Okay.
I have tour guides.
Okay, so thank you for that. Now, when you're planning a journey, or many people feel that going on tourism, traveling is quite expensive. So because of that, I don't want to travel. Because of that, people are scared, the money involved and all that. So how do you manage the luxury, the little you have, yet you are still having a robust experience, living the kind of life you want to live when you get there without really breaking the banks?
Okay, so I think it's 2 things. The first thing I always say is that you cut your coat according to the clothes you have. So the material you have, if you have 20,000 naira, there's something that thing can do, right? So people just want to, oh, I want to have this grandeur experience. If you have 50K, you can do something touristic with 50K. If you have 20K, you can do something. So I feel like whatever capacity you are at, just you do within that capacity. So that's how I started. The little money I had, my first trip was like 5K, go to Olumoro, come back, and I had a swell time, right? So I was not looking for like a grandeur experience. So I want to travel, I want to go to Maldives. So whatever I had, I made sure I utilized what I had. So that's one thing. Then the second thing is also, some people are vacationers, right? So I am not, primarily a vacationer. I want to experience as a, someone living in that place. Yeah. So if you're living in Lagos, what do you need? You just enter, transport. You do the basic things, right? You don't need to have a taxi that's taking you all around. You don't need a chauffeur. You don't need a private. So I think people just imagine that travel, because it's not in your home, it has to be crazy. Yeah. So I think one thing that helps is the fact that I want to go to Ondo State and experience life of people that are staying there. People that are staying there, they enter bikes, they do the regular thing, they go to the market, they go to, so I just, simplify it as possible. I don't make it look like it's one huge task. If I can't take a plane, I take a bus. If you cannot take a hotel, do an Airbnb or find someone that stays there. So there's always a way around it.
I think one of the things that makes your story or your experience captivating is the way you tell the stories. Because somebody can go to a place and then not see what you see. I can, like you said, I cannot be a normal traveler. I just go to a particular place, do what I want to do, and then go. But for you, every step you take, you are looking at something around because it can be able to tell a story. And I think that is one of the standout features that you have. Because I remember watching one of your videos where you went to Ondo State. And then when you were telling the stories, I'm sure people from Ondo State don't even know that they have these things. So how do you measure this? How do you measure that?
Okay, because I genuinely love the experience. I genuinely love that I'm here to take in anything I see. So I'm open to anything. I'm not going like, okay, you know how you are going to Osun State, these are the places you go, there's a list, right? And then you get to the bus park and you go there. and you come back, right? It's very straightforward. So sometimes I just, like this Ondo state I went, I was very open to whatever, was there, or whatever I would see. So as I'm going on the journey, I'm talking to the locals. Oh, I heard this thing. Is it true? I'm like, oh, yes, you can go here. And then next thing, I'm hearing someone telling me there's a floating village. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Take me there. So I'm so open and so flexible to the experiences that the place has to offer, as opposed to me going with my expectations and just going to certain locations.
Well, I do like the fact that there's a story behind it, because essentially that is what stays beyond your just visiting. Yes. Somebody goes to watch it and then you shape the narrative, because essentially that is what we need to do. Africa needs to not just tell the story, but help to shape the narrative, so that anybody who's watching say, no, that places are not monkeys jumping from trees to trees. There are places where even if they are riding bikes as the means of transportation, it is a way of life for them, and it is okay. If we can tell that story, I think that is where we should be. But then again, what are the challenges we experience in your commute? Have you done outside Nigeria?
Yeah, it's African countries.
So I mean, what are the challenges you get to face? Because I know some people, like, apart from the budget part, how much am I going to spend? What do you get to see along the way? Those challenges that hits you, or the culture shock that hits you?
Okay, so I think major challenge would be the sadness that I feel when I get to locations that I feel that they could have done better. Like, I revisited Idonre Hills. This is a proposed UNESCO site, and the first time I visited was like years ago, and then it's still the same way I saw it. Like, there's nothing happening. That place is so majestic, it's so beautiful, but like seeing that there's nothing done, there's no change, like it's just the same way it is. So I think that's also something that affects us as Nigerians. We do not really value the things that we have. Yes, and we have a desert, we have blue rivers, we have basically everything. It's such a diverse country if you look at it. There's the rainforest, there's the savannah, there's everything, but we do not value it, especially the people in, people don't imagine, like, people come to your place as travel too, right? So that means there's something in every place for people to come to. But because you are used to this environment, you're used to being in Nigeria, you're used to being in the West or whatever, you do not see it as a big deal. Meanwhile, people are traveling to come to your own city. So I think one of the challenges for me is the sadness I feel anytime I visit places that I feel like this has serious potential. Other minor challenges would just be, language barrier. And then also, there's the part where people do not understand, why am I traveling from Lagos to this village? Like, the villagers themselves, like, what are you doing here? Who's sponsoring you? So I see some skepticism in some people, like, who's sponsoring you? What are you, like, why are you here?
Why are you here?
Are you a spy? Who comes to our village all the way from Lagos just for tourism? What's that? So, like, there's also that. And that also, hinders the way they are open to new experience, because it's just very new, so very weird for you to want to do that. So yeah, those are the minor challenges.
All right. But there are challenges in life generally. But okay, so now looking at Africa, you've traveled around Nigeria, you've gone to 8 countries in Africa. What country in Africa right now, the ones you've been to, do you think has the potential, untapped potential when it comes to tourism?
Untapped?
Yes.
I think Nigeria is the most untapped.
Oh, okay. Okay, so why Nigeria?
Yes, I feel like we are the least country that takes tourism seriously. So yes, the most, very diverse, but like little, interest in tourism.
Wow. So, but we have some nice tourist attraction centers. What happens to them? You get it?
Yeah, I get it. But then again, you say untapped.
Yeah, it's just untapped. So we have them, but like they could be more. We could have. I don't think we see tourism as much economic value as it should have. Yeah. So we have other countries like Kenya and South Africa. Like, they pump so much into their tourism, especially Kenya. They do so much. They just know that they have gold, and they want everybody to come and see the gold that they have. Okay. So yeah.
Okay, so what do you think we are losing economically?
Yeah. A lot. But I think we're losing a lot. We're losing a lot because there's so much. The sand dunes in Yobe State, is that not what people go to Dubai to go and just dive into the sand dunes?
We have it here.
And we have it. It's like very, very raw and, even to even get there, that's, the hassle. We don't even have enough infrastructure for someone to even say, I want to go to Yobe State. You have to travel for so long. The roads are bad, So it doesn't even, aid tourism. Yeah.
So essentially, if you're going to advise governments and the government, because I'm talking about the states, locals, and then the federal government, what would be your message to them?
Okay.
How can they help?
So I would want them to at least channel 20% of the interest they have.
20.
Just 20 of the one they have in petroleum. Just channel 20% of that energy.
How did you arrive at that figure?
Something to say, that's how bad it is. If they can just, I'm not even asking for channel 100% of your focus or even half of the focus you have on petroleum right now. Just a little bit more. Just pump a little bit. 20% into tourism. See it as something that can bring in more value than petroleum. And I feel like they would do better. From each state, what are the tourism potentials? Even if you just pick one destination per state, that is a lot. I know Lagos Tourism Region is trying right now. Trying to
December. So
exactly. So we have that. But then even at that, how are we managing the living conditions of those people that are living in Lagos? Because we know how hectic December is when that thing happens. Prices of things go up, traffic is crazy. So it's like, how do we now manage that thing? If we are saying, okay, this is tourism, that want to now do tourism, how are you going to do it? You cannot just say, okay, come into our country and you're not ready to have people into your country.
I think there are little cues that African countries have tried to explore. For example, Rwanda had to go into partnership with Arsenal. Everybody literally watches, I said everybody, but that's an exaggeration. Everybody watches football. And then you're watching Arsenal, that is one of the biggest football clubs in the world. And then you're seeing Visit Rwanda on the jersey. True. Right?
True.
I mean, how all those little cues sell countries? How can, not say Nigeria, but then again, how can African countries do this? To make people know they exist. Because I'm sure many people will be hearing, there's a Seychelles as an African country. Because it sounds very Asian. But there's a Seychelles as an African country. There's a Mauritania, that's an African country. Some people don't even know African countries that they even have. And they're on the continent with them.
True.
How much education do you think we need to have? Or what can we do?
I don't know, it's a lot. That's why I feel like it starts with interest. If you're interested in making it work, we always find ways to make it work, especially as Nigerians. Nigerians in other African countries, if you want to start something, we're the ones that thrive the most. So I feel like if we just have that interest in, building what we have, or even knowing what we have, because there's knowing. There's knowing, and then there's building. Many of us don't even know what we have. So that's why we try to tell stories, we try to showcase, and I feel like it's getting better, but we're, it's a very slow pace right now. So we just need to talk more, show more, and hopefully have governments and then also private people, partner with the government. Because I feel like maybe governments may not be able to do the business alone. They can just support or back private individuals to make things work.
Okay, so I know we are running out of time, but I want to ask this important question. Because you're changing the narrative from unsafe country or unsafe continent to a safe one. Now, are you saying this because out of optimism or because that is actually the reality? Because that is the story you're painting for the rest of the world, which is a beautiful one anyways, but is that really the reality? Would you say that it is really, really safe for Nigerians to travel? Within Nigeria, or Africans, let's not limit it to Nigeria.
Okay, Africans, yes. That is my reality, and that is what I'm showcasing. So it's just like saying, let me give you a quick backstory. So I've discovered recently when I went to East Africa that West Africa is considerably safer than East Africa, but nobody talks about it. In Uganda, I was almost robbed of my phone in broad daylight at a tourist attraction. They stole my tripod. But this is not something that will happen in a tourist attraction in Nigeria or in West Africa.
Okay.
That is something I found out by going there, but they don't paint that narrative. Even in Kenya, they do a lot of phone snatching. They always want tourists, hold your phone. Even if you're in your car, don't be pressing it near the window. But nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
That is something. Even in these countries you see as they are really doing well, they have insecurity. But I don't know what it is with Nigeria, but we just want to paint that as the only narrative. Nowhere is 100% safe. Even the US. We know this, but we do not always, when you brand it, you just say, okay, Nigeria is unsafe. So that's what I'm trying to say. Nigeria was safer to me, and it's safer to Africans than some countries in East Africa.
Okay, all right. There is a young 50-year-old lady girl watching right now who really want to tour your path right now. They want to become someone who travels for the experience, for the knowledge, for everything. But for one reason or the other, the young girl is being held back. Maybe she's scared of something or whatever. So what advice do you have for such a person right now?
Okay, first thing I would say is begin from where you are. No matter how small it looks, no matter how small it sounds, begin from where you are. That is where I started. If you are in Lagos State, begin from Lagos State. If you are in this local government, go to a park in the local government. Start. That's how you build momentum. That's how you get that courage. You know, when you go small, you feel, oh, I did it well. Then you keep going, keep going, keep going. So start from where you are. Start from your state, then go to neighboring states. I believe in little drops of water. So that is, before you know it, you look back and like, oh my God, I've gone this far. So do baby steps. Start from where you are. Start with the money you have. Start with anything. Just start. That's what else.
Where are you going to next?
I'm hoping to go to Tanzania.
Tanzania. Okay, maybe.
I wasn't going to just because, I mean, you mentioned you've seen young people starting small and all, but you mentioned community earlier, that your community sometimes supports you and all. How has the reception been, and then how large has it been growing over the years? Okay,
to my surprise, I did not even realize that I was going to be full-time in this, right? I just was passionate about seeing more, and I wanted to be a newscaster, funny enough. So when I started, I just wanted to, because I didn't like my 9-to-5 then, and I just wanted to see more. And before I knew it, I fell in love and just kept going. And right now, like, it has been, I was so surprised. The more I share my stories, the more people are interested, the more my audience is growing, and then brands are coming. I'm like, okay, now this is a full-time job.
Wow.
So yeah, it was very interesting.
Yes, I really wanted to ask about brand collaboration. If there is anyone that is sponsoring you now, and maybe they're looking for more people to sponsor.
Okay, well, not really sponsor, right? For me, brands just pay me for me to do videos for them.
Okay.
And I think one brand that's been really, really supportive was MTN, because I did not have so much followers, and they are interested in showcasing Nigeria. So they just wanted me to do videos showcasing Nigeria. So I think that was something that even enabled me at the beginning, because I saw that they wanted me to make videos of what I already wanted to do, and they wanted to pay me for those videos. So that was what gave me the courage to keep going and keep going. So.
Wow. Thank you so much, Nika. We really appreciate your time on the show, and your insights are so beautiful. We appreciate you, and I hope when we call on you next time, you'll be available for us.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. Amolo, what do you think?
I'm going to have to start to travel. Maybe every weekend. As you already said it, I start from your small community. Maybe I'll go from one local government to another. By the time I do that, who knows, maybe somebody will not carry me outside the country. That's what we're all hoping to get to. But one thing I always appreciate is the fact that when you go to other places, your worldview changes. You no longer see yourself from one small spot. You get to be to think outside the box. You learn to appreciate other people's culture, difference in opinion. It makes you a better person, because even man was not even created to be in one place. So I think more of us need to travel to get more worldview.
Yeah, that's what she actually said. So the old map of Africa with just a few destinations marked is fading. In its place, a new, vibrant, and endlessly detailed map is being drawn, not by outsiders, but by the chefs, the artists, the storytellers, the self-instructors, and the tech entrepreneurs right here at home. A very big thank you to our guests, Lucas Imodi, that's King Lou during the first segment, and Odenike Oresanya. I hope I didn't murder that. For the beautiful insights, and many thanks to you, our dear viewers, for staying with us. Once again, you can follow us on all our social media platforms at Silk News TV. I am Omivi Idolo.